Welcome back. In the previous part we looked at planning and building. So in this case we are planning around a cargo airport hub and a smaller passenger airport that will be built on the other side of the railway line. The establishing infrastructure is in place, including railway, road, bus later, power, and water and sewage. And the establishing road connection here. So we're ready to go for when I come back in to start building a satellite development over here. Now the next phase is expansion. Now expansion is different from, you do planning in all aspects unless you want to go for totally anarchy in your system. But expansion is basically extending the city from where it was last, where the urban development last came up to. And it often taps into using existing infrastructure just being extended out. So in this case we're going to look at Amity Hills, which is industrial, the Murako Entertainment Park, Takanini, the University Estates, Mangere Estates, and Spring Heights. Now when you are undertaking expansion, you've got to work out what are you doing it for in the first place. With this area here, and if we take a look at the zoning, there were three reasons why. One, industry demand was quite high at the times, and we had consumed most of our industry capacity that was not part of the industry's DLC in here, and more specifically over here at the time, and over here. There's also a logistics reason for it too. Trying to get your goods from here and here, even with rail, to over here, it doesn't work exactly, and it leads to traffic congestion. So by establishing another industrial complex like here, we're able to get some of that cargo traffic shifted from long distance back to short distance. Another reason is we didn't have a leisure area built around the concerts. Or the stadium, because it's quite different to the city centre and the downtown there. Also, I don't like placing stadiums in city centres, that's consuming valuable real estate. So prior to putting this down, the city previously only came up as far as the airport district, the university town, and Papakura. So, but already the existing infrastructure was in place. In this case, monorail. Yep, we got monorail. Rail, heavy rail. Buses. Although there is no buses crossing over, it's all, this is done by the rail system. And I believe, no, the metro has not come over on this one. This one's been purely serviced by monorail, heavy rail, and the buses. Power, already in position by establishing again another 225 cable circuit, I should say, off the original 225 cable and substation, which came off the oil-fired power plant. And water was simply extending the pipes out, and in this case chucking in some extra water storage. There's enough water storage in the city, if I was to totally cut off the pumps, to last about 2 game days at most. If conservation efforts are underway, you'll get about 3.5 game days. So, expanding. The city originally came up to the motorway, and now it has popped over and we've established a new industrial complex, a new commercial complex, and new residential, and it is serviced by the existing, in this case, monorail system to connect it back to the main city, as well as buses running around it. So expansion model is typically, unless you are undertaking a pure satellite approach through planning and building, expansion is just another name for Greenfield, good old-fashioned Greenfield sprawl, which in the Auckland plan we have a maximum limit of 40% of all growth is capped at, although at the moment we are only at, on the last update, only at 24% of all new growth is sprawl, the rest is brownfield, which is consolidation or intensification. So with expansion, you're not having to build everything from scratch per se. You are basically, because most of the infrastructure is already in place, it's just a case of virtue of extension and placing down the zones. The only thing you are typically building from scratch is any local amenities like a town centre, or if you are going a large metro centre to service the area. This is the only thing you're starting from scratch. The rest of it's just a continuation of the city going on. So expansion, once the city is underway, is the main one you typically do, apart from consolidation, which will be next in your city. You just have to be, as expected with urban geography and urban and transport planning, you just got to be careful when doing your expansion, expanding on existing infrastructure, that the existing infrastructure, especially transport more to the point, can cope. And that your Sims, more so than cargo, can get from one end of the city to the other without many problems. Okay, and we'll cover into the final part, consolidation or intensification, which is technically the trickiest part of the game compared to planning and building and expansion. And I'll show you why using the city centre in the next part.